Okay, so now we get on with the second experiment, which is a very crucial part of Git, that is creating and managing branches. So this is the experiment that we'll be working out now. So creating and managing branches, creating a new branch called as a feature branch, then switching to your master branch, or we also will refer it as your main branch. And so switching to your main branch and merging the feature branch into the master branch, right? So this is experiment 2 in your lab manual, to create a new branch, switch between branches, and merge a branch into the master branch. So from a theoretical concept, we'll call the original branch with your repository set up as a master branch, but in real world we call that branch as main, right? So just be cautious about those terminologies being used or interchange when they are being used, right? So as usual, we start with creating that repository. So this is your last experiment. Let's come out of it, right? So where are we? We are here. Let's clear the screen. Where are we? We are here in this folder called as GitLab. And for our second experiment, we are going to create a folder called as exp2. Created that folder. We are going to go into that folder. And the very first thing that we do is initialize Git. So Git init. Now we know that the repository has been initialized over here. At any point to test whether Git has been initialized in a particular directory, run Git status. It will say, yes, I'm on branch main. There are no commits yet and nothing to commit, right? So let me introduce you to the first command in Git branch. It's called as Git branch, right? Right now, there are no branches created. The first branch will be created, or the first branch will be initialized. That is the main branch when you do your first commit, right? Similarly, so in this case, what we'll do is we'll create a file as usual. In my last exercise, we used Notepad. Over here, I'm going to use the echo command. So what is the echo command? So echo Windows command. Yep. So the echo command is used to display a message on the screen or to control whether commands themselves are displayed. Okay, so basically message on the screen, right? And we're going to, whatever content we want to put into the file, we're going to put it as a follow-up after echo command. And then we're going to use the redirect symbol, which is the greater than, and pass that input into a file, right? So in this case, let's use echo and let's use echo and I'll try to stick with as close as to the experiment that we have done in the labs, right? So I'm going to say over here, just give me a minute. I'm going to say first line from main branch, close it, and then I'm going to pass it to file called as main.txt. You can keep any name of the file, nothing to be particular. So this creates a file. If I do dir, I can see the file and its content. I can also type that by saying type main.txt. You can see that the file is over there, right? Now I have created a file. I have content in the file. Next, I need to stage the file. So I do a git add main.txt. I can also use git add dot as there is only one file, but it's a good practice to always mention the file. So the file has been added. How do I verify? By again saying git status. It shows no commit yet, but the file has been, a new file is there which needs to be committed, right? So I will do my first commit. Notice even now, there is no branch which has been created. Your branch is always created when you do your first commit. So git commit minus m again. We'll learn about git commit minus am. So when you run git commit minus am, you don't need to run git add. So git add and git commit as a combination of two commands can be done by running git commit minus am. But in this case, I'll continue using So I'll say initial commit on main branch. Okay, right? So initial commit from main branch, the file has been committed. Let's get some space on the screen. Okay, dir, there's still one file. Git status now should say on main branch, nothing to commit, working tree clean, because last time it said there are changes to be committed, and we made that commit to that file. So there is all changes to the only file which is present has already been done, and the commit has been done. Commit, we have generated a commit ID, so I can look at the history of the file by saying git log, and I can see that under this author and this timestamp, the file has been committed, and this is the message which has been tagged with that particular commit. Okay. So now, as I said, the branch is not initialized until a commit happens. Now, when you say git branch, it shows you that your repository is on the main branch. Many of you might see this as master in your Git setup, which you have done on your systems. But yeah, you have this option to select main and master. Usually recommend you address this when you install Git for the first time. But even if you have master, nothing to worry. Instead of using main in the commands, you're just going to use master, just a terminology difference. So what have we done here? We have created a branch, right? That is, our initial branch has been initialized. Our basic branch has been initialized, where the Git repository has been initialized after I did a first commit. So I have one branch, and I can see that my commit is made to that branch. When I say git log, it also shows me where that particular commit has happened. Okay, so this is about creating the branch and initializing the branch. So right here, right now, we have only one branch, that is the main branch. Now we'll go ahead and create one more branch. Now, why are branching used? Branching is basically used to differentiate two different code bases. For example, you might want to keep the code base for the release that you're targeting as one, but also want the same code base to be merged by fixes from the previous release, right? But you would want to maintain that as a separate branch, right? Because before your next main release goes, you might fix these bugs, right, which has happened in your previous release, and update your main software or the main version which is running your software over there. And that's why you do not want to combine those fixes with the main branch, but create a separate branch. There can also be scenarios where there is separate teams working on separate functionalities, and those separate functionalities have been identified for separate releases or separate different points of deployment in the development of your software. So the best way to do that is to handle the development that is focused for that particular release or particular version of the software in different branches, right? So in this case, in this experiment, let's say we are having a branch which we call as a feature branch, which is adding new features to the product that we are developing. In this case, we are using a simple text file, but we'll go ahead and create a feature branch. The branch will have its name called as feature branch. And so we use the command git branch. As every git command, it starts with git, the word, and then the actual command, git branch, followed by the name of the branch. In this case, I will say feature branch, right? So I'm calling the branch as feature branch, and I'm creating it right now by running this particular command, git branch, feature branch. Let's create the command. There is no output. Probably when there is no output, there is no error. Probably the branch has been created. How do I verify that? I verify that by running git branch. As you can see, it shows me the feature branch right now. But right now, you'll notice that the small asterisk next to the main branch, which is saying that Git is now pointing to your head of your repository is right now pointing to your main branch, right? Now, before we want to make changes to any files or add any files to our branch which we created, we need to switch the branch, right? There are two different ways to switch the branches. The first way is git checkout and the branch name. So here GURE feature, here GURE feature branch, right? So it tells you switch to the branch feature branch. Now when I run the command git branch, let's use, yeah, it shows that the asterisk has shifted from my main branch to my feature branch right now. So right now, Git is pointing to the feature branch. Anything that you do right now will be added to the repository under the feature branch, right? So, but please notice that there is still only one single file over here, right? So the feature branch has inherited that file from the main branch. So my feature branch also has a main branch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add maybe one more line to the feature branch, right? Or let's create a separate file over here only. Let's call it as feature.txt. So in this case, I'll create a file and I will use the echo command in this case. Echo, this is work on the feature hyphen branch, close quotes, and I'll pass it to a file called as feature.txt. Right? So I've created a file, as you can see, 32 bytes of data, feature.txt. But this file right now exists in the feature branch because I'm pointing to the feature branch right now, right? So what I'm going to do next as a part of the process, I'm going to add, right? So stage the file. So git add, I can give the name of the file. In this case, I have to give the name of the file because there are two files over here, right? So feature dot txt. So we're going to add the file. We have added the file. Let's look at the git status now. So git status tells me that there is a new file called as feature.txt and it says changes to be committed. So I have to commit the file. Let's go ahead and commit the file. It commit -m, again meaningful message so that others can also understand what you're trying to say. So over here I will say added feature.txt in feature hyphen branch. Close quotes, done. Right? So I've made a commit. What do you do next? You run git status. It should tell you working tree clean, nothing to commit. Fine. In that case, you run git log. Now, git log in this case is, yeah, this is spelling mistake there. Git log will show me the changes, will show me all the changes right now over here. So the feature branch has inherited main.txt, so it shows that commit details. And it also shows the commit details, which I just did now. You can verify that by looking at this commit ID 201EEAB. That's exactly this commit ID, right? The first 5 or 6 digits or 6 characters are displayed. So right now I have a feature branch and a main branch. And right now I'm pointing to the branch. Let's verify. Of course, we know we are pointing to the feature branch. Let's run main branch and that's confirmed, right? So we have a file called as main.txt, which has been committed to the main branch. Then we created a feature branch. That feature branch inherited main.txt from the main branch, but it also had a file added to it called as feature.txt, which is not present in the main branch. Okay. So that being the case, now what we'll do is we have so far demonstrated creating a branch and adding file to a branch. Now we will merge the feature branch into the main branch, right? So if I want to merge the feature branch into the main branch, I should be first in main branch and then call the git merge command to feature it. So I have to shift to my main branch here because I want to merge feature branch with main branch. If I want to merge main branch with feature branch, then I can continue staying over here. But in this case, I want to shift to the main branch and then merge the branch which we created into this, right? So I can switch by using the same command as we did earlier, which is git checkout and the name of the branch. But in this case, I'm going to introduce you a new command, which is git switch, right? Main. So I want to switch to main. I say git switch main. It switches over. It tells me switch to main branch. You don't believe that, you can still run git branch and verify the same. So it's now pointing to the main branch, right? So to the last command for this particular exercise, which is merge. So what have we done so far? We've initialized the repository, we committed a file to the main branch, then we created a feature branch and we committed a file to the feature branch. Right? Having said that, right, now we want to merge the content of my feature branch with my main branch so that feature.text also comes in my main branch. So we are performing a git branching merge operation, and the syntax is, let's clear up some screen. It's not possible. Let's clear the screen. Yes. So here's the command git merge followed by the branch which you want to merge. In this case, it is feature branch, right? I'm running that command. It should be a smooth merge. It says updating this repository and this repository indicated by the commit ID. Fast forward merge is happening in this case. Feature branch has been added, one file change, one insertion. Now, how do I, yeah, so dir, it's there are two files and I've actually made the branch. So I can type feature.txt and the content of feature branch is shown. Now to actually see the merging visually, here's a new command, git log minus minus one line. It shows all the commits, which it generally shows in a git log command. So if it's a git log command, it shows me all of this long detailed version. But I just want to know the commit ID and just want to know whether the commit has happened. So basic information I need. I don't need so many lines of information. So I run git log minus minus one line. Let's run that command. And you can see over here, both the commits are shown with the commit ID and the message which you included when you committed that. So we can see over here. Now we would want to see something which shows us, oh, branching has happened. Because right now, as far as I can see, it's still one dimensional. I want something which shows me that two branches, that one branch has been merged with another. For that, we use the command git log minus minus one line minus minus graph. I want a graphical representation minus minus all. Basically, I'm saying show me all the changes, show me it in one line, and also show me a graph. Let's run that command. As you can see over here, it shows me the details, right? So I think the minus minus all is something which didn't work for it. So let's run one line graph. Yes. So right now it shows me just um, this particular merge which has happened from this branch to the feature branch has been merged with the main branch, right? Now, what we can do is we can shift to the feature branch, make another change and merge it with the main branch. Before that, we'll make some changes to the main branch. But the experiment so far has demonstrated the basic functionality of git branching and merging. So let's do that. So I'm in the main branch right now. So I'm going to make one more change. Um, second line. I'm going to append that change and hence to over here main.txt. Right. I'm going to commit that change and add in one single command. So this is also a demonstration of that. Git commit. So instead of using git add and then using commit, I can use the option git commit minus am open quotes second change in main. Basically saying I'm doing a second change in the main branch. I'm going to commit that code. That code change has happened. So when I say git log, it shows me the third change which has particularly happened. Now I'm going to shift to the feature branch, right? So um, the command I'm going to use in this case is git switch feature hyphen branch. I shifted to the branch. Now I'll make changes to the local file over there. Okay, in this case, I have both the files right now because so I'm going to make changes to the feature branch. I'm going to use echo and say second line in feature branch. I'm going to append that. Please note I'm appending it to feature dot done, right? And I'm going to commit it again using git commit -am open quotes. Okay, committed feature branch. Close, enter, done. I'm going to shift now to main, git switch, main. I'm going to call for a merge, git merge, feature hyphen branch. Okay. Now, so when I do this, it basically opens up the merge command where it also inputs a basic command, basic comment over there called as merge branch feature branch, which is basically saying the branches in merge. So all I need to do is file save and close it. Once I close it, that change particularly has happened. Now we did this so that we could show you. So this is the graphical representation where you can see that so this straight line is a main branch and this is the feature branch. So the first commit in this exercise was done in the main branch, and then we um, shifted to the feature branch and we added a file change to that. And then we made a change to the main branch, which you just saw. And then we shifted to the feature branch and made a change to that. And then we finally merged after shifting to the main branch. We merged the feature branch with the main. So this is an example wherein using graphical representation, we are actually showing the merging operation happening between two branches. You can see over here, this is mentioning the branch where that basic commit has happened, right? And this is mentioning finally the feature branch has been merged with the main branch. The main branch now has all the changes to main.txt as well as feature.txt. So this is the end of the experiment. What we wanted to demonstrate to you was how you can work with multiple branches and you can have separate changes in separate branches. And based on the need, those changes can be selectively merged, right? So there's a provision wherein Git will allow you to select particular commits and merge it across two different versions of the codes, or in our sense, two different branches, whether that's a main branch or between a sub branch and another sub branch. In this example, you saw one branch being created and file being added to that branch, and then finally that branch being merged. You also saw an example of using the git log --1 line and the git log --graph command, which shows a visual representation of the git branching and merging experiment. So that's all for this experiment. Hope it's been beneficial for you. Thank you.